ready for you. Okay, this is the immigration critique with Ozzy, right there, Maria, me, Kat,
and Ruben. Hey.
What up? Okay, so I kind of just want to talk about what everyone's ideas are, like what they think about immigration. And my opinion is, I'm cool with like people coming over. It doesn't really bother me, but I think the government does kind of have a right to know who's coming over, just so we can regulate, you know, budgets or just prepare for a bigger population. That's kind of my general stance. I don't really have enough like knowledge about immigration to go into big details, but
I don't really know which direction I would want to take on immigration, because not only does it deal with an influx of non-U.S. citizens into U.S., into the country, it also discusses ideas of like citizenship and culture and where you come from and what that means and how that all fits into like actually becoming a citizen. Like, you've got people who were born in a different country, raised by different standards, different laws and everything, who are coming over, not applying for citizenship and just adapting to the country, trying to lay low, trying to lay under the radar. And I just think there's too much turmoil in like people being against immigration and people like serving illegal immigrants' educational needs, things like that. And I guess I would love to see people being checked as they come into the country to see that they're here, but it's not idealistic, because the process for citizenship just takes too long, and then what are you going to have?
But why do you think that is? Why do you think it takes so long? Like, is it really
the bureaucracy of...
but I don't understand why it's such a big deal to become an immigrant.
Well, think about it. These people are coming in, and they have to develop all that you've developed from like being born. You've got your birth certificate, your social security. You were documented the whole way through, and you've had years to be documented, and all your histories is documented by the government. These people, they can't have that done in a matter of a couple of days, because it takes years to do it for a citizen who's born here.
Logistically, that's why it's so difficult. But what I'm thinking is that all the factors that you just listed, like things like culture and things like that, what we're talking about, it's not it's not the question of whether or not it's important. It's like, what are the effects of immigration going to have on not only American culture, but the cultures of various countries that are going to be immigrating.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think that's what makes America great, is that like the ideal melting pot. Are you okay?
Or so they say.
Yeah, we are the... Go ahead. I mean, we are the ideal melting pot, but if you just open the U.S. borders and say, hey, look, apply for your citizenship, make sure that we know you're coming in.
No, I know, I think you're right, there should be regulation, but I don't know, I just...
Well, how are you going to regulate something?
I don't.
like
Okay,
that?
but
I told you I'm not immigration.
Are you talking about like open immigration, like just whoever wants to come over, just write your name down and come over?
No, I'm not. No, I think there needs to be some regulation, but I'm not like, I don't think it needs to be as strict.
What would be the reason for those regulations?
So we don't have terrorists in our country.
So it's a matter, like you said earlier before we started the video, it's a matter of national security.
I guess.
Though, I mean, there's a lot of things that factor into like how many people who should come into our country.
In my perspective, immigration has a lot to do with your own like duties to your country. Like, okay, yeah, it's basically like giving up on your country. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we wouldn't
leaving.
even be here if it wasn't for immigration.
No, I'm
Like
talking about.
America wouldn't even be a country if it wasn't for immigration.
No, I understand that, but I'm talking about in present day. There's different countries who, if citizens would stay there and work through their own issues and put all of their resources to it, like you have people leaving country, going to school somewhere else, and then not even going back to their country to benefit that country. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that people can do for their actual community if they wouldn't put those resources other places. Instead of helping out everyone else, they're just kind of,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Like
So they're
that's
actually leaving their country in turmoil, and they're not helping it at all.
They're using America as a scapegoat and taking the easy route.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm saying. Like, instead of
But
actually
is it
facing...
really an easy route to
Is it an easy route, or are they refugees?
Yeah, like, I mean, some people are coming from hardship where no matter if they stay, their situation's not gonna get any better.
Yeah, I'm like, what I'm thinking is like, those who are actually like, they come to go to school and they don't go back to benefit their country. Like, I understand those who go through turmoil and they want to come for a better life, but I'm talking about those who
just
They
stay.
could benefit the country and help those people out so they don't feel forced to have to leave their country. Do you know what I mean? Because in that case, if everyone who is able and willing to leave will leave, and they leave one country with disabled people, unintelligent people, people who can't really fend for themselves because they didn't have the ability to leave as well.
So what are you
Yeah,
suggesting?
but they're benefiting us, and I'm a selfish person, so I'm totally okay with that.
But are they really benefiting?
If they're coming over, if you're the way you're making it sound is
Okay,
the
the ones-
able
the able and-
people
yeah.
come over to America to get a better education and,
And
they
then
stay here.
they stay in our society. Okay.
They don't always come over to get a better education.
I know, but in her scenario,
in
that's what
this
it was.
case.
Okay.
Then I'm all for them staying. Like, I'm selfish. I'll take smart people.
So then, in that case, do you think we should compensate the other country for taking their resources?
It's not our fault they want to
But-
come over here.
Okay. I don't know. I just feel like there's a sense of duty that you have to, for those people who can, you know what I mean? That you should be able to benefit your society and like your own little community.
And I think
Because
that's
feel like
I think that's what you get growing up in America, though. I think you get that ideal that we need
Probably.
to serve our country. I mean, they probably don't grow up with that.
And see, to us, it sounds like
Well, they probably-
uh-huh. those who come over here and stay in our country are doing it for selfish reasons. That seems like it's unpatriotic. So that's how we would label it.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, I can see that they want a pursuit of a better life, and I understand like the other, like the refugee scenarios and stuff like that. I understand that, but I'm talking about those who are.
I just never saw it as such a big issue. Like, I don't know why. I never saw immigration as such a big issue. It's
So,
never really bothered. But it is. But like,
Do you-
I just don't pay attention to it that much.
do you think that we have a problem with the amount of undocumented illegal immigrants here in America? Do you think there's a large amount of them, like too much, something should be done about it? Or do you feel like they're fine the way they are and they can just keep coming, like more immigrants
My
can keep
thing
coming in?
is-
And we're dealing with it in an effective way. Like, I'm asking you, do we have a problem with the influx of illegal immigrants?
I don't know if it's a problem. Like, I just don't. To me, I feel like if they've been over here, I just don't see why it's such a big deal. If they're doing their job, there's a part in the article where they're talking about they're contributing to the country. So, I mean, I just don't see why it's such a big deal for them to come out and be like, hey, I've been here for like 15 years, can I just apply for citizenship? You know what I mean? Like, I just doesn't seem like a big deal.
Well, would you see them as criminals in disguise because they're breaking the law by coming over here illegally? So, do you apart them from citizens, or you categorize them as criminals?
I don't know. That's hard.
Because criminals have certain rights and citizens have certain rights. So, what would you classify illegal immigrants
Yes, they're
as?
breaking the law.
No,
but-
I'm not saying don't give them rights. I'm just
No.
It's just posing the question.
I'm just posing the question.
I mean, yeah, they're breaking the law, but they're also. I feel like there's such like bigger laws to be broken than just.
It's
like
you're
laws
murdering
of
somebody.
humanity, or
Yeah, I don't
But every law is in place for a reason, however small that law
it's the
should
butterfly
be.
effect. Small
Yeah.
things can
But
cause.
what is the reason? See, that's my hang up about it, and that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm hearing that you're having the same problem. Is that you're saying, why is it such a big deal? Why are we having to deal with
They're
this?
doing jobs that people don't want to do.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, that sounds really bad. Like, the immigrants, the lower paying jobs, and I guess considered dirty. And I don't know if.
Well, did you
inhumane
hear
is the
about
word,
that
but-
thing? It's like, I don't know what it's called. There was this big program where it's like, come and take our jobs, and it's basically, they offered like 1,000 jobs that mostly illegal immigrants do to American citizens, and only 3 people took the jobs. Only 3 people took the jobs, and they say, oh, illegal immigrants are coming over here and taking our jobs, but only 3 people showed up to that.
It's true.
But
Like,
it's been like that. It's been like that since I want to say like the early 19th century, where German and Irish immigrants started to come over here. It ended up that the Irish and German immigrants took the lower class jobs that nobody ever wanted.
because they need the job.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad worked in the oil fields, and he told me, he goes, I used to hire people that I knew were giving me bad social security numbers. Like, I knew it. They were some of the nicest, hardest working guys I've ever worked with because they need the money and they're like honest.
They have
men.
more at stake.
Yeah, like they're not bad guys,
So-
so I don't see what the big deal is.
What's surfacing is the problem of blind judgment. In that we're dehumanizing them. We're seeing them as, like the term you brought up, criminals. Like they're just criminals. They're breaking the law. That's that.
Like, they're
Deport
either
them.
one or the other. They're
Exactly.
not both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't see them as people anymore. Like your dad saw them. Your dad saw them as a
Yeah.
person. People who are good and hardworking.
But you know what I think it is? I think it's the few people that do come over here that are really